October 12, 1961. The Red Lion Pub, 11:32 p.m. Sean Mad Dog Murphy was drunk. Not regular drunk. The dangerous kind. The kind where a man with power thinks he's invincible. He reached into the fruit bowl on the bar, pulled out a banana, walked across the room, and placed it on the table in front of Bumpy Johnson. The entire pub went silent. 50 witnesses, Irish, Italian, black, white. Everyone knew what that meant. Everyone knew what happened to the last man who disrespected Bumpy Johnson in public. But here's what nobody expected. Bumpy didn't touch his gun, didn't throw a punch, didn't even raise his voice. He just picked up the banana, peeled it slowly, took a bite, and said 7 words that made Sean Murphy run out of that bar so fast he left his coat behind. To understand what happened in the Red Lion that night, you need to understand the tension between Harlem and Hell's Kitchen in 1961. The Irish mob controlled the West Side, the Westies. Brutal, violent. They'd been running protection rackets, union corruption, and dock operations since the 1920s. For 40 years there was an understanding. The Irish stayed west of 8th Avenue, the Italians controlled Midtown, and Harlem belonged to Bumpy Johnson. Nobody crossed those lines. Not without permission, not without consequences. But by 1961, things were changing. The younger generation didn't respect the old rules, didn't understand why invisible lines on a map mattered. They saw opportunity, they saw money, and they saw an aging black gangster they thought they could push aside. Sean Murphy was 29 years old, third-generation Irish mob. His grandfather had worked for Owney Madden. His father had run numbers in Hell's Kitchen during Prohibition. Sean had grown up hearing stories about how the Irish mob once controlled all of Manhattan, how they'd been pushed out by the Italians, how they'd been forced to share territory with blacks and Puerto Ricans. Sean wanted to take it all back. He'd spent 2 years building his crew, 20 men, all young, all hungry, all convinced that the old gangsters were weak, that respect was something you took, not earned. And Sean had a particular hatred for Bumpy Johnson, because Bumpy represented everything Sean's father had lost: power, territory, respect from people who looked different than you. So Sean had been pushing boundaries, small things at first, running numbers on the edge of Harlem, approaching Bumpy's policy banks with offers to protect them, sending his boys to collect from businesses that paid Bumpy tribute. Bumpy had let it slide, not because he was weak, because he understood something Sean didn't. Young men need to make mistakes, they need to learn, and sometimes the best teacher is patience. Let them think they're getting away with something, let them get comfortable, let them get arrogant, then teach them a lesson they'll never forget. October 12th wasn't the first time Sean and Bumpy had crossed paths. 3 weeks earlier, Sean had walked into Small's Paradise, Bumpy's headquarters, sat at the bar, ordered a drink, and loudly told his friends how Harlem was going to be Irish territory by Christmas. Bumpy had been sitting in his office upstairs, heard everything, came down, walked over to Sean, and invited him to leave, politely, respectfully, like a host asking a disruptive guest to call it a night. Sean had left, but he'd felt humiliated, embarrassed in front of his crew, made to look weak by a 56-year-old man who didn't even threaten him, just asked him nicely to go. That embarrassment festered, turned into rage, and rage makes men do stupid things. So Sean decided to send a message: not in Harlem, too dangerous; not in Hell's Kitchen, too obvious; neutral territory. The Red Lion Pub on 10th Avenue. Irish-owned, but everyone was welcome. A place where gangsters from different organizations could meet without starting wars. A gentleman's club for criminals. October 12th, Sean made sure word got out. He was going to be at the Red Lion, celebrating his birthday, buying drinks. If anyone wanted to pay respects, they knew where to find him. It was a challenge. Not subtle, not clever. Just a young man telling an old king to bend the knee or stay home. Bumpy could have ignored it, could have sent a lieutenant, could have done what everyone expected and just avoided the provocation. Instead, at 11:15 p.m., Bumpy Johnson walked into the Red Lion Pub, alone. No bodyguards, no backup, just a man in a gray suit and a fedora, walking into a bar full of Irish gangsters on their own turf. The bartender, an old Irish named Patrick, saw Bumpy first. His face went pale. "Mr. Johnson, we weren't expecting you." Bumpy smiled. "It's all right, Patrick. I heard there was a birthday party. Thought I'd pay my respects." The pub was packed, 40-50 people, most of them Sean's crew. The Westies, young men in their 20s and 30s, dock workers, union enforcers, street soldiers. They stopped talking when Bumpy walked in, watched him cross the room, watched him approach the large table in the back where Sean Murphy sat, surrounded by his friends. Sean was drunk. You could see it in his eyes, in the way he leaned back in his chair, in the cocky smile that spread across his face when he saw Bumpy approaching. Well, look who showed up. The king of Harlem himself. Bumpy stopped at the table, removed his hat. Happy birthday, Sean. I heard you were celebrating. Wanted to wish you many more. Sean laughed, loud, performative. That's real nice of you, Bumpy. Real respectful. You know what I respect about you. You know when to show up. You know when to pay tribute, like a good boy. The pub went completely silent. Those last two words hung in the air. Good boy. A phrase white men had used to demean black men for centuries. A phrase loaded with history and hatred. A phrase designed to provoke. Bumpy's expression didn't change. Still calm, still respectful. I'm just here to wish you well, Sean. No disrespect intended. Oh, there's no disrespect, Sean said, standing up. He was taller than Bumpy, younger, stronger. He stepped closer. I just want to make sure you understand the way things work now. You had your time. Your generation had your run. But things are changing. The Irish are coming back. And Harlem, that's going to be ours soon. Bumpy nodded slowly, like he was considering it. Tamativ Alspan I braki wode. I'm ratchos the rung iver minem shees real stabo. I just admitted time can hurt your just pralta. You might be right. Things do change. Men get old. Times move on. Sean grinned. Exactly. I'm glad you understand. He turned to his crew. See? This is how you do business. With respect. With understanding. That's when Sean reached for the fruit bowl on the bar. It was a decorative piece. Apples, oranges, bananas. Patrick kept it there for ambiance. Sean grabbed a banana, walked back to Bumpy. And here's what I think of your respect, old man. He placed the banana on the table in front of Bumpy. The message was clear. Brutal, racist, comparing a black man to a monkey. 40 years of civil rights progress erased with one gesture. The pub erupted in laughter. Sean's crew was howling, slapping tables. Some of them were uncomfortable. You could see it in their faces, but mob mentality took over. If the boss is laughing, everyone laughs. Bumpy looked at the banana, then at Sean, then back at the banana. His face was unreadable. No anger, no fear, no reaction at all. He picked up the banana. The laughter got louder. Oh shit, someone shouted. He's actually going to take it. Bumpy peeled the banana slowly, carefully, like he had all the time in the world. The laughter started to die down. Confusion replacing mockery. What was he doing? Bumpy took a bite, chewed thoughtfully, swallowed. Then he looked at Sean Murphy and spoke for the first time since the insult. You know what the difference is between you and me, Sean? Sean's grin faltered. What? I've been disrespected by better men than you. Bumpy took another bite. And they're all dead now. Not because I killed them in anger. Because I waited. I watched. I learned their weaknesses. And when the time was right, I removed them. Not with rage, with strategy. The pub was dead silent now. Bumpy continued. You think this banana is an insult. You think calling me boy makes you powerful. You think because you're young and I'm old, because you're white and I'm black, that you've won something here tonight. Bumpy finished the banana, set the peel on the table. But here's what you don't understand. Every man in this room just watched you humiliate me. They watched you cross a line that nobody in New York has crossed in 30 years, and they're going to remember this moment. Not because of what you did, because of what I'm about to do. Sean's smile was completely gone now. His crew had stopped laughing. What are you going to do, old man? Start a war? Bumpy shook his head. No, I'm going to teach you a lesson about respect. Not with bullets, not with violence, with truth. Bumpy reached into his jacket pocket. Sean's hand moved to his waistband. Every man in the pub tensed. But Bumpy didn't pull a gun. He pulled out a photograph, slid it across the table. Sean picked it up. His face went white. It was a photo of Sean's mother, Catherine Murphy, leaving her apartment building in Queens. Date stamped that morning, October 12, 1961, 8:47 a.m. Bumpy let that sink in, then pulled out another photograph. Sean's younger sister, Eileen, walking to work, Manhattan, 9:15 a.m. Another photograph, Sean's nephew, 5 years old, playing in a park with his nanny. Another, Sean's father, retired, living in a nursing home in the Bronx. Bumpy laid them out one by one, 5 photographs, 5 family members, all taken in the last 24 hours, all completely unaware they were being watched. "You see, Sean," Bumpy said quietly, "I knew you were going to disrespect me tonight. I knew because you're young and stupid, and you think respect is something you take. So I wanted to show you what real power looks like. Real power isn't making someone look weak in a bar full of drunk idiots. Real power is knowing where everyone you love is at any moment of any day. Real power is being able to reach them before you even know they're in danger." Sean was shaking now. "You wouldn't. I wouldn't." "What?" Bumpy interrupted. "Hurt innocent people? You're right. I wouldn't. Because unlike you, I have a code. I don't involve families. I don't hurt children. I don't cross lines that can't be uncrossed. But here's the thing, Sean. You don't know that for sure. Right now, standing here, looking at these photos, you're wondering if I'm telling the truth. You're wondering if maybe I'm different than you thought. If maybe I'm more dangerous. If maybe you just made the biggest mistake of your life." Bumpy picked up the photographs, put them back in his pocket. "I'm going to walk out of this bar now. You're not going to follow me. You're not going to retaliate. You're not going to tell anyone what happened here tonight except the truth, which is that you disrespected me. And I showed you mercy." Bumpy put his hat back on. "And Sean, one more thing. If I ever see you in Harlem again, if I ever hear about you approaching my businesses, if I ever catch wind of your name in any conversation about my territory, I won't take photos. I'll take action, and you won't see it coming. You'll just wake up one morning and your whole world will be gone. Not because I'm violent, because I'm patient, and patient men are the most dangerous kind." Bumpy walked toward the door. The pub parted like the Red Sea. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Sean Murphy stood at his table, holding on to the chair for support, looking like he'd seen a ghost. When Bumpy reached the door, he stopped, turned around. "Oh, and Sean, thank you for the banana. It was delicious." Then he walked out into the October night. The moment the door closed, chaos erupted. Sean's crew was shouting, arguing. Some wanted to chase Bumpy down. Some wanted to call reinforcements, but Sean just stood there, staring at the table, at the banana peel, at the place where Bumpy Johnson had stood and dismantled him without throwing a single punch. Patrick the bartender came over. "Sean, you all right?" Sean didn't answer, just grabbed his jacket and ran out the back door, left his birthday party, left his crew, left his reputation. Word spread through the New York underworld like wildfire. By morning, every gangster in the city knew the story. The Irish kid who disrespected Bumpy with a banana. And how Bumpy had responded not with violence, but with something far more terrifying. Proof that he could reach anyone, anywhere, anytime. Within a week, Sean Murphy had left New York, gone to Boston, then Chicago, then Los Angeles, kept running, because he understood something that night in the Red Lion. Bumpy Johnson wasn't just a gangster, he was a chess master, and Sean had been playing checkers. The Westies pulled back from Harlem completely. No more incursions, no more provocations. The younger generation learned what the old generation already knew. You don't disrespect Bumpy Johnson, not because he'll kill you, because he'll make you wish he had. 3 years later, in 1964, a reporter asked Bumpy about the incident. "Someone told me an Irish mobster once insulted you with a banana. How did you respond?" Bumpy smiled. "That old story? I ate the banana, and he learned to eat his words. That's all," the reporter pressed. "But what did you actually do to him?" "Nothing. That's the lesson everyone misses. I didn't have to do anything. I just showed him what I could do, and that was enough." October 12, 1961. The night a young Irish mobster thought he could humiliate the king of Harlem with fruit, and learned that real power isn't in the insult, it's in the response. Bumpy Johnson taught Sean Murphy something that night, something every gangster in New York already knew. Violence is easy. Any fool with a gun can kill someone. But making a man run away without touching him, making him fear what you might do more than what you actually do, that takes intelligence, strategy, and the kind of cold patience that made Bumpy Johnson untouchable for 40 years. The banana incident became legend, not because of what happened, because of what didn't happen. No gunfight, no murder, no war, just one old man showing one young man that respect isn't taken, it's earned, and those who try to take it by force will always run from those who earned it through fear.